Hey everybody, this is John Alexander Reese with The Influencers, the Cincinnati Herald show, where people share their voices. And today you guys are in for a treat. I have with me Laure Quinlivan, and she's the board founder of one of the founding members of Women in Cincinnati. How are you doing today, Laure?
I'm good, John. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, fantastic. Um, my show, I talk about the arts and entertainment and everything. I like to, cover arts, movies, music, television, that sort of thing. And Jan Michelle Lemon Kearney, who's Cincinnati councilwoman, she told me about this better, let me pull it up again. Sorry. She
That's
told me
okay.
about the Better Cities Film Festival, which is
Yeah.
going on September 26th and October 3rd at the Hollywood Drive-In in College Hill. So, Laura, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm with we call it WIF Cincinnati, but it's Women in Film Cincinnati. And we are, the Cincinnati chapter of an international organization. We support and network with women and men who are working in film, TV, and the digital industries in our region. So we decided to host a curated screening of Better City films. The Better City Film Festival has been going on a while, and it's all these films from around the world showing how people are making their cities better, making them more pedestrian friendly, working on public transportation, minority entrepreneurship, racial equity, affordable housing, just all sorts of things that we always talk about, that we would love to have in our city.
Right.
So we chose 18 films to be shown over 2 nights, so 9 films each night. And they're really diverse, varied. And Jan Michelle Kearney is going to help us with post-film discussion on October 3rd. Both of these evenings are Saturday nights, and we're doing it at Hollywood Drive-In, which is in College Hill. A lot of people don't even know Hollywood Drive-In exists, but they
Yeah.
created it at the beginning of the summer because of the pandemic. They figured out how to turn this giant parking lot into a drive-in so you can socially distance and come to the movies. And I went to a film there this summer and it was great. I mean, you could see it really well, you can hear it. There's only 40 cars allowed though, so it's not a huge
Right.
venue. So if
Right.
you want tickets, you got to get them fast.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm surprised that more people didn't do that over the summer, because it was like movie theaters were closed for so long. So I was just like, wow, it'd be a good time for more people to build, drive-in movie theaters. It seemed like it would be booming right now, with the
I
pandemic.
think it is across the country. I saw a story on CBS Sunday Morning, which is like my favorite show on television.
Mhm.
If you like the arts, you probably have seen it too, because I do a lot of art and design kind of things. But
Right.
they did a story last week on all these new drive-ins that have been created across the country on rooftops everywhere, because people have tried to figure out a way, how can we get together safely and watch films together? So,
Right. Right.
but
Of
in
course.
Cincinnati, there's not a lot of space to do it.
Yeah,
And I really
unfortunately.
give kudos to College Hill for figuring out a way to do it.
No, I know when I was growing up, there used to be an Oakley Drive-In. But like I said,
Oh, yeah.
I remember the Oakley Drive-In, but that was fun. But like I said, but like you were saying earlier, there's not a lot of space in Cincinnati to have like huge drive-ins and stuff.
Right. The
It-
closest one that I knew about was like way out east, like it's called, I don't know, like in Amelia or something. And
yeah, I know there's a Starlight Drive-In.
Starlight,
I
yeah.
know.
And I thought about, well, could we do it there? And I thought, no, this is like an urban issues film festival. We
Yeah,
need to have it in the city. So
yeah,
as soon as I found out about College Hill Drive, and it was like perfect,
yeah,
in the
exactly.
city limits.
Yeah,
So
that's perfect.
we're
Um, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say at the event also, we're going to have, we're raffling off, donated prizes and stuff. So we have a lot of cool prizes also. And anyone who is a Women in Film member automatically gets a free raffle ticket. But they include things like baskets of chocolate, pet portraits, a subscription to the Atlantic. I mean, just all kinds of different things. So I
Right.
hope your listeners will check us out.
Yeah, they should, because I was just looking, at the itinerary of the festival, and it's always a treat, watching short films from, emerging filmmakers and everything. And that leads me, because you are a filmmaker yourself,
I am.
in addition to being an anchor for TV, you're also a filmmaker. And can you tell us a little bit about your film?
Sure. So I have this film called Blue Goes Green that is the story of Cincinnati, the city of Cincinnati, building the first net zero energy police station in the whole country. And we are a very unlikely city to be first. You would think
Yeah,
that if somebody's going to do something really cool in sustainability, it's going to be somebody out on the West Coast, right?
yeah,
A city out there.
right.
So
Yeah, New
the fact
York
that
and
we
stuff.
did this first is awesome. And so what I did is I documented the construction of this police station. It's the police station over on Ferguson Road that serves all of the west side of Cincinnati. So 14 neighborhoods
Oh, wow.
make up District 3. And the really cool thing is the city did this one totally differently than they've ever done any other building. First of all, they included citizens. So they formed this advisory group. Anybody from the neighborhoods who wanted to be on it could be on it. And those citizens really had a lot of influence in the design. They really changed some of the things in the building, and they also got to design all the public art for the building.
Oh,
And they made the choices. And so therefore, everybody on the west side really feels like, yes, this is my station. And it's
yeah.
very welcoming. It looks like more like an art museum. If you would just pass it by on the street, you would never guess it's a police station, because it's a beautiful building, very welcoming. And of course there's solar panels on the roof, and that's what helps get it to net zero energy. And what that means is this building makes as much energy from the solar panels as it uses. So it's net zero. So as taxpayers, it's a great deal for us. There's no energy bills at District 3.
Yeah.
And before they did this new building, at the old building that they had, the old District 3, the Duke bill was like $6,000 a month.
$6,000 a month?
It was a real
Oh my
drafty
God.
old building, and then they had an annex across the street, and it was,
Hmm.
yeah, it was not efficient at all. So it's a really cool story, and I was so happy to tell a great story about our own city. And the film has been selected for the Better Cities Film Festival this year, and that is going to be in Detroit in October. So I know my film, which is the anchor film on October 3rd, is actually in Better Cities Film Festival this year. And so is the film that we chose to be the anchor film on September 26th. It's called Pushing Zero, and it's about this developer out in Salt Lake City who is creating sustainable, affordable housing. And I know John, affordable housing is like one of our biggest problems here in
Oh,
Cincinnati, the lack of it. We
yes.
just don't have enough housing. And I'm talking about not only low income, but people who are just in their first job. There's no housing for them either.
Yeah,
That's affordable.
yeah.
So the fact that this guy has figured out a way to do it, and I just had a conversation with him yesterday on the phone, and I said, do you think we could do what you're doing in Salt Lake here in Cincinnati? He said, I don't see why not. So I'm really hoping with a post-film discussion led by a council member, we
Yeah.
will get into like some of these great ideas that we will have just watched on the screen, and they can help maybe shepherd bringing some of these ideas here to Cincinnati. So
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Oh my God, I'm so pumped for these films.
got to
So
get your ticket, John.
it does. It does. I definitely have to go to this film festival. If I wasn't convinced before, I'm convinced now.
Good.
So I want to ask you, how long have you been with Women in Film Cincinnati Division?
We formed our little chapter in 2016, and it was just a group of different women who are involved in film, like behind the scenes. Some people are in front of the camera, and we met a few times at one another's homes, and we just decided to go for it. And so we are a nonprofit, a 501c3.
Right.
And we did it. And each year we've grown, and this will be by far the biggest event that we've ever done. We have a lot of networking things, a lot of this year, of course, it's all been by Zoom
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
hours and things to help people. If Aria joins us, I hope she will. We have some younger people like Aria who just graduated from college last year. She graduated from NKU, and she's working in the film industry here in Cincinnati, and she's actually working on a film right now. She's a
wow,
really cool person, and hopefully she'll get the link and join us. But anyway, to help people who are just starting out as well, make connections in the industry, and a lot of cool stories have resulted from it.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I know they've been filming a whole lot in Cincinnati lately, like a lot of Hollywood films, like
Yeah.
they shot the Netflix film here, not Point Blank, Point Break, and then they shot Emilio Estevez's film here, The Public. They shot a couple of Bruce Willis's films in here,
Mhm.
so it's definitely been exciting. It's been real.
It
Oh,
is.
and then they shot the Dark Waters film here.
Oh, did you see that? I love
Yeah,
that.
yes, I went to the premiere of that, and
Oh, cool.
it was excellent. I actually met the actual, the lawyer, the
Oh, yes, I've heard him speak before.
yeah,
Rob, I forgot what his Delot, I think is Rob Delot. Man, that is such a fantastic story. And me as a former investigative reporter for Channel 9, I used to be on the I team for about 13 years.
mm,
That whole movie is just right up my alley. This
yes,
somebody who crusaded and took on DuPont. That is such a great film. So Film Cincinnati is another nonprofit, here in the city, and Kristen Schlottman leads that, and it's her job to try to get these films to come here.
right,
And they've done a really good job too. And she says that once directors experience Cincinnati and they see that we have a lot of very experienced, well qualified crew that they
right.
can hire, it's
Oh
not
yeah,
a backwater. And then they see how livable our city is. They're
right,
like, why am I living in LA when I could have
yeah,
this, like a house that would cost $5 million in Hollywood?
yeah,
So a lot of people are really impressed with our city once they come to shoot a film here, and they come back. A
yeah,
lot of these directors are repeat directors
yeah,
shooting in Cincy.
definitely. It reminds me of a of there was a film they filmed here. I believe it was called Caro. It was with Kate Blanchett,
Yeah,
and Rooney Mara, and I
yeah,
remember the director saying he liked Cincinnati because it felt like New York, like if it was in the 1950s. It's kind
yeah.
of, Cincinnati has that prestige and that old time quality to it,
Well,
and
we've got those fabulous buildings in Oakland
yeah,
Line
yes, those
in
beautiful buildings.
downtown that luckily have been restored and not torn down. And
Yeah,
that's a huge advantage for our city too. We have got a great stock of older buildings that can be made to look like New York back in the
right.
day.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I went to the public premiere, and the public, folks, if you haven't seen The Public, it's a great film. You should watch it. That's it.
I haven't. That's the one that takes place in the library, right? A
Yes.
lot in the library. No,
Yeah,
I want to see that. I didn't see that yet.
it's a very good film. I was amazed by it. It's like I think it's one of Emilio Estevez's best films. But
Wow.
anyway, but he was basically telling, the audience that, he loves Cincinnati, and that, it's just like he didn't know like how, because he was gonna film it in Los Angeles, but then, I think, Film Cincinnati convinced him to film it here, and he just you should have seen him at the screening. He loves Cincinnati a
Was
whole
that
lot.
Emilio Estevez? Or
Yes,
okay,
that was Emilio.
yeah.
He loves Cincinnati a lot because I saw him 2 times. The first time he came here when he was promoting his film The Way, which was starring his father Martin Sheen.
Oh, I love that film. I saw that too.
Yes, it's an excellent film. I love The Way. The Way is another good film, folks. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely see
Yeah.
it. But he generally loves the city, and it's like it's so refreshing to see just celebrities say, "Oh, I really like this city, Cincinnati." It's like it's not too small, it's not too big. It's just right. It's a perfect city. I agree with him. It's a very nice city.
Yeah, as a former city council member, I love to champion our city whenever we can. And yeah, it is really cool. I mean, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Washington, D.C., I've lived in bigger cities, I've lived in some very small towns, and Cincinnati is a great in the middle place where we have all the benefits of a bigger city, but we can get to the Reds game in 10 minutes and
Yeah.
then get out of there and get home. You know,
Yeah.
you're not stuck in traffic all day long like you are in a big city if you try to go to something like a professional sports event or an arts event. So
Yeah, exactly. It's just right. It's just right. So I want to ask you, is there anything, so now that you made this film, are you gonna do any more films in the future? Or
yes. So I'm like a documentary filmmaker. So that's
Mm,
my, what I'm
the
into.
unsung heroes of cinema, documentary
Yeah, I
filmmakers?
really do. I love documentaries. So I'm actually working on one right now. It's not really titled yet, but it's about landslides in our
Hmm.
city and
Oh,
around the
yeah.
country. So there's a nonprofit here called Hillside Trust, and they basically help citizens avoid, and developers also avoid, building on things that are going to fall down.
Right.
Columbia Parkway is a very good example. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
people
gonna bring that.
say,
I was gonna bring that up. I said
yeah,
that's
I mean,
definitely.
a lot of people say it should never been built, actually, where it's built, because it is built on a very slippery hillside
Yeah.
that just keeps falling down. And so, as you probably know, there's a huge multi-million dollar, like $20 million fix
Yeah.
going on right now
Yeah.
to hopefully stabilize Columbia Parkway. So we have shot a lot over there, and we've been able to get up with the workers way up high, and
Mm.
it's really interesting. So anyway, I'm working on one right now.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you said you're really into documentary films.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, like, do you have any favorite documentary films? Like, what are ones that are your favorite or inspired you?
Well, I always I like so many things, but I remember the Michael Moore stuff. I guess when I
Mm,
was
yeah,
younger and I first saw
right.
my first Roger and Me, the Michael Moore movie, it
Yes,
was like,
right.
oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Trying to think what else. I mean, just
I mean,
I,
Bowling for Columbine is a good Roger Moore movie. Also, that's a
oh, I haven't seen that one. What's it?
that, that
That about guns and
yeah.
gun safety?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also a good one. Obviously, Fahrenheit 9/11. It's like
Mhm.
really really great. Yeah, but I don't know. I really like one of my favorite documentaries is actually Hoop Dreams, and
Oh, I remember Hoop Dreams.
yeah,
I loved that too.
yes,
Yeah.
it's insanely long, but it's definitely worth the watch. It's a very good documentary. Kind of
I
heartbreaking.
remember seeing that and thinking, actually, I was still a reporter, and I was here, and there was somebody, oh, I wish I could remember his name now. He was at one of these schools where he was only like in high school, but like he was only like a freshman, and they were saying he's going to be the next LeBron.
Hmm.
Do you remember who I'm talking about?
I don't know. I mean, I know the name of the guy. I know the name of the filmmaker, Steve James, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I was thinking, because I'd seen that Hoop Dreams and it was so inspiring. I'm like, I'm going to try to follow this kid who everybody thinks is going to be the next big thing. And
Right.
anyway, it never worked out. His family didn't want to do it, and I can't even
Mhm.
remember his name. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was a very inspiring movie. It
mm,
was great.
definitely, definitely. Okay, well, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to this, film festival. And like I said earlier, it's always great to see, emerging filmmakers in these film festivals because
Yeah.
it's exciting and there's so much promise that these filmmakers and hopefully you see them go on to do like bigger and better things and
Yeah.
and everything like that. So
Well, the
oh, go ahead.
let me tell you just a little bit more about how it's programmed. So the first night on Saturday, September 26th, we're going to have 9 films total. The first 8, which is like the first half of the program, the films will start at 8 o'clock, and our program will start at 7:30. So films at 8, from 8 to 9. All those films, all 8 are by female filmmakers.
That is fantastic.
And we're women in film, so we
Yeah.
want to promote and highlight women working in the industry. But it's not that we just went looking for female directed films. We had about 40 or 50 to choose from from our curated screening that we got from Better Cities Film Festival. And these are all ones that the three of us who were on this committee together, we all voted that these films are number one, you know, so they're just really good. And they just happen to be by women. So we kind of put those together. And then the affordable housing film is the anchor film. And that night, the discussion will be led by Council Member Greg Landsman. And there's a place called Brink Brewing right across the street from this Hollywood drive-in. And so we are going to meet over there at 10 o'clock, and from 10 to 11 do the post-film discussion for whoever wants to come. But not everybody, you know, they have to do social distancing and everything. So it'll just be like first come, first serve, whoever gets in until they reach their capacity. Okay. And then on that second Saturday, so a week from that Saturday, there's some really good films. An African-American guy who started his own bicycle shop in Denver. It leads it off. It's called Chocolate Spokes. It's a great, great little film. Very memorable. I still can remember so much of it. And then we have some really good stuff. And then Jan Michelle will lead the post-film discussion that night. So if you're excited about coming and you're looking, you know, how do you get tickets? You can go to Women in Film Cincinnati's Facebook page. We have it advertised. Also, it's on Eventbrite. So if you just go to Eventbrite and search for With Cincy Better Cities Film Fest, you'll find it, or just Better Cities Film Fest. I'm sure it'll pop up. And buy your tickets early because, like I said, Hollywood Drive-In only takes 40 cars. We are going to have 20 tickets for walk-in or bike-in. So if you live in College Hill or you know somebody in College Hill, you could just park elsewhere and buy one of those tickets, and it's only $10 and walk in or bike in, but then you should bring your own blanket or chair, whatever you want to sit on. And the way that the sound works is you tune in your radio, your car radio, or a little portable radio you bring with you to this FM station. And that's how you hear the sound. So if you walk in or bike in, you might want to bring your own radio with you. You can kind of hear from the other cars that, you know, have the windows open, but, you know, it might be cold that night. So you might really want to have your own with you. And then, and then there's something at the drive-in called the Snack Shack, which is run by Red Rose Restaurant, which is a minority-owned restaurant right there on the College Hill Strip. And they run a snack shack right there at the drive-in. So you can buy drinks, pizza, popcorn, you know, so there's food and drinks to buy too.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. It really does. But one thing I want to talk to you about, just real quick. How do you feel about, you know, more women able to get into, you know, get more directing roles, especially in like big Hollywood pictures? I think it's fantastic because like 10 years ago, you know, you wouldn't even seen a lot of like films directed by women. And it's just like, how far do you think women have come, you know, so far? And, you know,
well, unfortunately, not as far as you might think or hope. There is a college out west, I think it's University of San Diego, that every year does the study of women working in the industry. And last year, the numbers were like, of all the films directed by women, it was only like less than 10% are directed by women.
Still less than 10%?
Still very small percentages. The one role that women have made more inroads in than others is producing and editing, but it's still like under 15%. So we have a long way to go for equity, gender equity in this industry.
Right, definitely. You know, like for example, like I know the Oscars, the Academy Awards, they're trying to increase their diversity, and just the other day they released a bunch of new guidelines, you know, in order
I saw that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction, you know, but like I said, it's like we need to get there sooner, definitely. But, you know, to Hollywood's credit, there are, you know, some, you know, big studio movies that are being directed by women, like two of the next Marvel movies are directed by women. And
really? Good.
Yeah, the Black Widow movie and the Eternals, they're directed by women. One of them's an Asian American woman.
Excuse me.
And recently, Nia DaCosta, who's directing the Candyman reboot, she is directing another Marvel movie. So, there is, progress. I wish it could come faster, but, I guess you got to take it step by step, though. But
You do, but it helps to have groups like Women in Film Cincinnati and Women
of
in Film
course,
Chapters
of course,
to help keep the focus on that.
of course, yeah,
And it's great that the Oscars are actually bringing new guidelines. That
yeah.
if you want to be considered for Best Picture, you have to show diversity. I think that's great.
Yes, it is great. And I'm glad they finally, got there because, it's just like when I think of women directors, it's just like, I think of like top directors all time, constantly get someone like Spielberg, Hitchcock, Fincher, Karan, I want women filmmakers to be like household names, like Catherine Bigelow. I want her to be a household name,
Oh, The Hurt Locker, right?
Yes, The Hurt Locker, which is a brilliant film. If you've never seen The Hurt Locker, but I don't know if you've seen Point Break, though, she directed that too. In case you, if you've never seen that, that's also.
I haven't.
Yeah, and it also dispels the myth that women can't direct action films, which I think is ridiculous because it's like that's silly. Of course, women can direct action films, but
well, I'm going to be interested, John, in what your favorite films are from the festival. If you go one night or 2 nights, you're going to have to tell me, what you like the best, and we'll see
okay.
if it was a female or not.
Definitely. Well, I love film, so yeah, I would definitely attend at least one of
Good.
those.
You should do a review or something like that.
Definitely. Unfortunately, it looks like Aria can come.
I know. I wish it's my fault because I told her about it. And then, like I told you, I kind of forgot. And anyway, maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be more shows in the future, so
or maybe you can just have Aria on sometime. I mean, I know that she is actually working on a film in Cincinnati that just started, and I don't even know what it is. And but she is, and she's a great, she's like a grip, and I'm not sure exactly what she does.
Well,
she does a lot with lighting.
Okay, I would be very interested in talking to her. Just send me her info after the show.
All right, I'll put her in touch with you.
But we are reaching that point where it is time to go. Thank you so much, Laure, for being on the show. I greatly appreciate it. You had any social media for anyone to follow you or anything?
Yeah, so Blue Goes Green Film is our Facebook. And then, of course, with Women in Film Cincinnati, but Blue Goes Green Film. And yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Well, folks, like I said, you can follow us on Facebook at the Cincinnati Herald. Follow us on Twitter, Cincinnati Herald, Instagram, Cincinnati Herald. We're on LinkedIn, and we're also on YouTube at the Herald TV. And actually, this episode will be on the Herald TV within a couple of days. And of course, next week we have 2 more influencers episodes. So make sure to stay tuned for those. Okay, so this is John A. Reese, and thanks for watching, and have a good night. And also, folks, wear your mask. Let's get through this pandemic together. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.